Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics, here in my studio in room 169. Come if you please. I'm here with Chaz. You're a member of the Cheyenne River Tribe, and you have been on the forefront for, I guess, 15 years now. 2001, you started with the Sierra Club, so you've been focusing on the environmental aspect of all these encroachments on native land, the environmental impact. Tell me about kind of backtracking how you got involved in the first place.
Wow, gosh, that's funny. I actually answered this question a couple weeks ago. A white guy came to my tribal school or to our school on our reservation when I was in third grade and talked about water back then. And when I heard that, he talked about how much water we lose when we brush our teeth at 7 gallons per every whatever. And since then, I've been kind of had the Lakota and my mom's from California. I had that together. I'm like, I've been on this path since third grade. I've been organizing, and organizing is just talking to one person and talking to another person and doing that. So I've been talking this stuff for a long time now, I think.
Um, where was your reservation growing up?
Cheyenne River, which is an hour and a half south of here. I live along the Morrow River. My ancestors settled there in 1832. The treaty came up around us. The state came up around us. We've still been there 7 generations of Lakota ranchers there along the Jewett Creek, which is what named after my grandfather. So.
So when you look at the environmental racism that this is built on, obviously this was to go through Bismarck, predominantly white. They said, hell no. 5 minutes later, they put it through the Standing Rock Sioux land. Is this kind of just par for the course? The American Empire kind of shitting on the Native Americans, or is this time different?
Well, I think it's par for the course. Already the Grand River here in the Standing Rock Reservation and the Morrow River on Cheyenne River are polluted. From an open pit uranium mine in northwest South Dakota that was never reclaimed in the 70s. Right now, they recommend that children and mothers who are pregnant shouldn't drink the water. Everyone else go ahead, but the so that's what the situation here is already. I think we've been at the forefront of all this stuff, and they do this consultation process that says can we do this? We say no, and they do it anyway, and usually it has a lasting impact on us.
And it's interesting because you hear that the proponents of this pipeline say, you guys just don't get it, and you're in the way. We're going to have energy independence because of pipelines like this. But then you read the fine print, and the majority of this is going outwardly. It's foreign exports mostly.
Well, look at North Dakota. I mean, North Dakota has the highest rate of asthma in any nation in the country. I mean, with all that open space, how does that make any sense? You know why? Because
I didn't know that. Highest rate?
highest rate of childhood asthma. They used to, why? Because they burn off all those chemicals that are going up there. The state of North Dakota has already given itself over to the fossil fuel industry, and the Standing Rock Sioux tribe stood up for the first time. I know Turtle Mountain up in North Dakota also kept fracking out of its reservation up there at Turtle Mountain. We should talk to them and learn out how they do it. But this is the first time that a tribe really stood up in the face of the industry in North Dakota. I mean, if you go up to the Bakken, you can see what it smells like chemicals up there. You go up there, it's in the air, it's in the water, it's everywhere. And it's devastating. And so now finally someone in North Dakota is saying, "Hey, let's stop this." And it's about time. This is the Missouri River is already one of the seventh or the fourth polluted in the country. I mean, it's not like all the water isn't already polluted. We're already behind on this race. And I don't understand what they think that they're gonna how they're gonna be so profitable when it turns into war, or whatever's going to happen when water starts to be so precious like oil. And that's what's turning out. Those bankster gangsters, like to call them, are now betting in water futures. And so, what are we going to do when the Missouri River, that huge Minnesota, that all that stuff is polluted? And we can't let it happen.
So maybe I'm just very cynical, slightly conspiratorial, But in some ways, if shortage of water produces war, a lot of people make money off of war too.
Sure. Well, they've been making war off of Indian people for 500 years now. And so, I was involved in a couple of weeks ago at the camp at Ochete Shikome. They burned the Doctrine of Discovery. But we're still living under policies.
Can you explain what that is?
The Doctrine of Discovery was the Catholic Church's, a dictum that they put out that said that folks who didn't have Jesus, didn't accept Christ or whatever, were heathens, and their lands could be taken and they could be killed unless they came over to Christ. So 2 weeks ago we had all the Episcopalian bishop and all these big faith leaders. 500 of them showed up and said, this is wrong. You guys are human beings. I mean, we have to get people together to say that we are human beings. We are human beings in America, where we have the right to practice our religion. I was 6 years old when we were legally able to practice our religion in this country. 6 years old. A country founded on religious liberty, and I'm 6 years old. And in 2016, this is ridiculous. But our religion is us. It's not separate from us. It's our ways. It's our culture. We depend on water for life, and that's a part of our religion. And we're not able to practice our religion freely in this country. We still aren't. We're still, with the Washington D.C. football team, we're still mascots in this country. So it's okay for Morton County to go ahead and do that stuff that they're doing to us and dehumanizing us because we're terrorists. We're terrorists for existing and trying to survive. That's all we're trying to do. That's all we've been trying to do is 500 years. Now we can't go away. Before, we went to the reservations, we went and licked our wounds after they got done slaughtering us and doing all this other stuff. We went away. We're just living over there. We can't live there anymore because all the water's polluted. All the air is coming in. There's no good jobs. We can't live. We can't survive. Neither can the country. Neither can the world. And that's why I think we're all here today. That's why I'm here. Because there's no point in living in the real world when it's just fake. We're on a exploding train, the world, and we're just going along pretending like we're just gonna fix it. Well, when are we gonna fix it? When we start talking about it? We're still not talking about it.
I think it's interesting. You look at the police on that bridge and the blockades. And they're literally there to protect an inanimate object rather than people. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten to the point in this country, it seems, that it's all kind of one big revolving door between the banks, the lobbyists, the corporations, the media, the politicians. And a lot of people, like the Bernie movement, for example, Bernie Sanders movement, in large part was so successful because a lot of people weren't aware of that and they were awoken. But I think the Native Americans are very aware of that because a lot of this is not surprising because you've been seeing it for centuries.
Right. And we, the lay Native American knows more about treaty law than most lawyers in the country. Because we have to, because we're raised like this. We have to keep our knowledge within our people because the rest of the world doesn't know it, and if you look in the history books in South Dakota, I live in South Dakota, I work in Rapid City, South Dakota, where I've been working, doing race relations with the Rapid City Police Department. We're in huge, great, serious conversations with the police department and they actually, Pennington County sent their troopers up here. And so the work that we're doing over there impacts this because now we're going to ask, we had the city on task for a shooting that they had a year and a half ago where we were ready to, right after Ferguson, blow up in Rapid City. Border town violence, we've been living with that forever. These are all the same things that are happening, that they can just shoot our people willy-nilly and then they go in there and with 3 or 4 cops say, oh, that was an okay shooting. It's okay. So now we don't have any recourse. But now in Rapid City, we're doing some stuff. We're talking in a different direction, talking about getting those people educated. That's the big point. Is that these guys in North Dakota, those cops in Rapid City, they don't know who we are. We're not in the history books. We don't exist. We're on the Standing Rock Sioux nation right now. There's Lakota, Dakota people here. It's, the Hunkpapa people. It's very complicated. If you don't grow up in it, if you don't get educated in it, you don't know. And so what we have is 3 or 4 generations of people who living next to each other don't know each other, don't know how to speak to each other. It's totally okay for us in our culture to not make eye contact. But if you don't make eye contact with a police officer, what does that mean? It means you're a suspect. And so, those things they don't even know. And so, culturally, we're still in the pioneer times, which is, kind of right, because Morton County's pulling out their colonizing tactics and saying we're butchering their cattle and, and all this ridiculous stuff, which is what they said things like that before Wounded Knee as well.
So, how I look at it environmentally, if you allow a pipeline like this to go through a water source that serves 18 to 20 million people, what's next? They putting it through a daycare center next, a senior citizen home? I don't mean to be funny. It's just, it seems like if this is allowed, then it's open season on pretty much anything. As an environmental activist, what should people know about the ramifications if this goes through?
Well, all over the country, we've been having these situations happen where the industry gets these permissions from these commissions and all these things that don't really consider the health impact of communities. They don't really consider the long-term impacts of communities, because this is not profitable. It is not profitable for you to destroy your planet. I mean,
profitable for a few billionaires.
Right, for like 3 or 4 people, but for the rest of the people, they got to see that there's 3 or 4 of them that are going to make the money, but the rest of us aren't. I mean, this is no way to run things. It just doesn't make any sense, which is why it's this whole this cognitive dissonance thing. It can't make sense for us to be driving on a train that's burning and just continue to drive without talking about the fire. And we're not talking about the fire. How many times did they mention climate change in those 3 debates, which I didn't even watch, because after Brittany got beat, I didn't even pay any attention to. I
tweeted it. They did. I didn't watch a debate where they asked about climate change.
I said America deserved Trump. After they beat Bernie, after those Democrats didn't take Bernie, I was done with them. The Democrats are they're as bad as the Republicans, and this showed it. This showed it. I mean, great choice, Democrats. I mean, they had a choice for the first time in a long time. They had a choice between someone who's been in the system, doing what she was doing at the same time. They had the same careers. Bernie was over here on the margins. And that's where the people are, on the margins right now of our government. And the political establishment didn't think that the margins were where the people are, but now we know.
Last question for people watching. A lot of people want to help but don't know how. But also they could help by getting more informed. How would you suggest, as somebody who's not maybe just learning about the environmental consequences for the first time, how should people get better informed on the environment and the threats? Because it's literally since I've started covering this, I can't tell you, every other message I get, there's a pipeline and, they're building a pipeline in my neighborhood. I mean, I've gotten dozens of those.
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, and in those environmental NGOs, all that stuff, I've kind of left them, because we can't afford to celebrate Earth Day once a year anymore. We need to get serious about this stuff. And, I think that, that what's really come clear to me is that the connection between the environment and indigenous people is so strong. If we are healthy, happy, and prospering, so is the environment. And, we have to, we're connected. That's our relatives, the water. That's something that we believe. It's also something that science believes, that that we're all connected. And, Medakuye Oyasin, that's what we believe. It's not just to 2-leggeds, it's to 4-leggeds, it's to the winged ones, it's to everything. We're related. And so if we indigenous people throughout the world, they're being attacked all over the world. We are being attacked all over the world. If we are healthy, then the environment is healthy. And until we are able to move past this colonial baggage, this colonial quagmire that we've created, it's going to be a long battle, and it's going to that's taken us a long time to get here, and it's taken us a long time to get to the point where we depend on fossil fuels like we do. but we don't have the time that it took us to get there. We got to get off ASAP. So, I hope that, what everyone, gets from this is that, they got to, get a firm understanding. Where are you? Who were the people that were there before you? We have to come to grips with what America has done. We have to come to grips with genocide and slavery. This country's going to blow up. The world's going to blow up unless we have some serious conversations in a good way. There's got to be solutions. I don't know what they are, but, thank God there's people way smarter than I. Let's put NASA on it. Let's solve these problems. Let's quit messing around and fighting around amongst us, NGOs and all the other stuff. We all have the same agenda, which is just to survive. That's really survival here for our people and for the water. That's all we're here for.
Thanks. Appreciate it.